Hello everyone, welcome back to Red-Handed Robin. Yeah, in the last one we were Robin, followed along with our companion Jay, got on this ultra ritzy train headed to Gale, and we've been really suspicious and got followed on by this detective who is on our trail. And yeah, I was actually editing the last episode, and I noticed, like, you know, we gotta be really careful about what we say, and we should be trying to remember what we say to other people, because this guy is gonna catch on. Now, with that said, I should say that I have a poor memory, and I will not be writing anything down. Yeah. Anyways, I don't know where we are with this particular choice. Let me see if I can go back. Okay. Let's see. Oh, here we go. So they're talking about how the detective, well, is saying that, you know, he isn't really in it specifically for the justice system. He's in it for the game. He wants to chase. And if his target that is being chased is clever enough to get away, he's cool with that, because they got one over on him, and he's cool with that. So, what is our option? Let's see. Let's just say that rules are arbitrary, because as a businesswoman, because that was our lie, that we were a businesswoman, companies and corporations and stuff really don't follow the rules, and justice is a matter of perspective, because what is okay, moral, legal in one place is not necessarily the same in another place. So justice is what is agreed upon by society to be just. There are a lot of things that are common among different societies and different countries that there is commonality. Like, for example, murder is not just, but in some countries, I think that, like, murder, maybe not specifically murder, but, like, you know, revenge or something is okay. I don't know. I don't know much about many other countries, but certainly in the United States and many very industrialized countries, murder is very bad and not just, and it is illegal. But in some places that may not necessarily be the case. I heard in places like, I think it's Singapore, you could get caned for, like, spitting gum out in public or something, or maybe that's Thailand, I don't know. There was some Southeast Asian country where that was a thing. I just don't remember what country it is. Anyways, returning back to the game, rules are arbitrary. The detective already knew how I felt about rules and games. I can speak this secret language of yours too. Actually, I have to agree. Laws are written by those in power, but that doesn't necessarily make them right. There you go, Robin. Thank you for articulating what I was trying to say. There have been many corrupt rulers throughout history and plenty of just criminals. Take Robin Hood, for instance. Wren's eyes sparkled with intrigue. The sheriff used the absence of the king to impose his own selfish will over the townsfolk, but Robin knew it was wrong. Oh, wait, her name is Robin, or her pseudonym is Robin right now, and she's using the example of Robin Hood. I wonder if that is what is getting Wren's eyes intrigued. He was breaking the law, but that made him a hero. I should have guessed a girl named Robin would be quite taken with the idea of a righteous gentleman thief. Though, I suppose that makes me the sheriff in this situation. I'd like to think I'm the good guy here. I think both of you are rather depraved yourselves. I suppose you're right, though I never claimed to be completely innocent. Wren laughed, and when he spoke again, he was back to his congenial self. What an opinionated group. I'm glad I decided not to turn in early after all. That was all wonderfully melodramatic, Detective, but what does it have to do with you being on the train? Oh, right, the most important part. According to those close to him, Mr. Sullivan was in possession of a Whirlwind Express ticket. Apparently, he was planning on transporting some pieces of his personal jewelry collection to Gale's, possibly to sell. We couldn't find either the ticket or the intended pieces when we investigated his home. Uh-oh. Yep, Jay is rightly worried there, because sounds exactly like what they have. Yep, you too, Robin. Jay and I shared the slightest of glances. How do they know about the jewels? If that's true, then I should think it would be very easy to find the culprit. You could simply check the passenger list against the current passengers, and whoever's out of place is the murderer. That would be a brilliant idea, except there is no such list. The train's benefactor made it so that passengers are able to remain anonymous. I suppose he wanted to protect the privacy of his patrons. Perhaps you could search each passenger's luggage for the missing jewelry pieces. If only we could. It would be violating Zephyri privacy laws to do so without just cause. However, if someone were especially suspicious, say I kept catching them in lies, I have the authority to search them then. So that's how it is. It sounds like you have your work cut out for you then, Detective. I can't believe the Zephyri police are plagued by so much red tape. Many of my colleagues would agree with you, but personally, I don't mind. All games have their own rules. Anyway, I hope you ladies will stay safe. Please try not to associate with anyone who seems particularly suspicious. As he glanced around the room, his eyes lingered for just a second too long on Jay. Jay's upset about that. Quickly breaking eye contact, Ren stood up and stretched. And now, I'm afraid I've socialized half to death. I think I'll turn in for the night. He turned to me and gave a nervous smile. Ah, starting such a dark conversation right after a meeting, I must have scared you ladies. I hope we can still be friends. Let's not be antagonistic and say you don't scare me, because that sounds very like, hey, like I'm bigger than you think my britches are, but we can be friends seems very amicable. And as a business person, it's all about connections, network. So maybe that's where we go. I stood as well. Now that I was so close to him, it was obvious how much he had grown since I'd last seen him. Have you always been this handsome? Perhaps I wasn't old enough to notice before. I offered him my hand, which he gladly took. We never stopped being friends, Detective. Wait, never stopped? Robin, did you just out yourself? For a moment, he looked genuinely overjoyed, and his grip on my hand tightened ever so slightly. I'm happy to hear you say that. You know, Detective, I'm quite fond of games myself. Is that so? Mm-hmm. I nodded and leaned in close, whispering in his ear. And I don't like to lose either. My breath tickled his neck, causing him to shiver. Oh, he looks blushy. Maybe if you're feeling stuck, the two of us could discuss this puzzle of yours together. Two heads are better than one, as they say. Perhaps I'll take you up on that. Good night, Ren. Good night, Robin. I let go of his hand and headed for the door. Jay followed close behind me. When we were finally out of the car, I gasped for breath. My entire body was buzzing with electricity. A freaking detective! What are we going to do? Not here. Wait till we're in the cabin. I tried to walk, but it was as though my legs weren't listening. I stumbled, and Jay quickly caught me by the arm. Careful, you idiot. He must have been worried, because his name-calling lacked its usual bite. He put his arm around my shoulder and helped support my weight as we quickly headed back to the cabin. We walked in silence, but my mind was swarming with thoughts. So it's a game you want. Well, allow me to oblige. But I hope you remember, Wren, that I have never once lost to you. Cheek pressed against the cold, hard floor, a young boy felt his mouth filling with blood. I'll ask you again, and I won't tolerate any more of your foul lies. The stern man wiped the blood from his hand with a handkerchief. One of his rings had split the boy's lip when he struck him. How is it that my pocket watch came to be in your room? The boy picked himself off the floor and tried to stop the bleeding with his sleeve. He wasn't lying, but Mr. Gardner refused to see reason when it came to his precious daughter. I already told you. Rosalind gave it to me. We were playing a game and... Oof! Ouch. So her name was Rosalind. Rosalind Gardner? Because it was Mr. Gardner. Mr. Gardner struck him again. Ridiculous. I accept you into my home and this is how you act? Accusing my own daughter of stealing from me. If you just ask her yourself... He braced himself for another reprimand, but Mr. Gardner thankfully held his temper. Do you think I'm a fool, boy? I'm sure she'll tell me much the same. Heaven knows why, but my daughter is fond of you. No doubt she'd go along with the story of yours if she thought it would protect you. The boy wondered if that were true. Lying was one of Rosalind's favorite pastimes, and if it got him into trouble, even better. Mr. Gardner didn't know that, of course. In fact, he barely knew his daughter at all. To him, she was just another part of his collection, something he could put on display for others to marvel at, never allowed to leave the pedestal he'd placed her on. But she was just some doll to the boy. She was quick-witted and clever. When they played games, she would boast when she won and cry when she lost. She claimed they were enemies, but when he got sick, the maids couldn't keep her from sneaking into his room to keep him company. The boy was in love with her. This watch is a family heirloom. It's extremely old and extremely valuable. Rosalind knows she's not allowed to play with such things. And why on earth would she give it to you, of all people? She said... The boy hesitated. He doubted Mr. Gardner would like the answer. Would it get her into trouble? She said she's supposed to give it to the man she's going to marry. Mr. Gardner gave a harsh laugh. And you believed her? My daughter? Marry some orphaned kitchen boy? Preposterous. Now that he thought about it, of course it wasn't true. This was just another one of her little games. The boy's heart sank. He should have known. She never acted that sweet unless she was up to something. She probably intended for a maid to find it in his room so she could frame him for taking it. How stupid could it be? I guess you win again, Robin Hood. Damn. Dude, so they did know each other, and he is the orphan of the kitchen staff. And they played together as kids, and he loved her because even though she played games on him, basically she bullied him, but he still loved her because even when he got sick, she was trying to be there for him. And I don't know if she gave him this locket, this piece of jewelry, and it's supposed to be she would give it to somebody she was going to marry, and that may have been genuine, but because her favorite pastime was lying, it's hard to tell whether that is actually the case or not. Mr. Gardner strode to one of the display cases that lined the walls of his study and placed the pocket watch back on its dusty cushion. He spoke with his back to the boy as he gazed over the various treasures in the case. Go collect your things. I'll have one of the other ones see you out. What? You heard me. I sheltered you in your time of need, and you've done nothing but spit in my face. You are no longer welcome here. Wait, Mr. Gardner, He was 13 years old. Who would want to take him in? His payment for his time serving the Gardners had been room and board, though he had no savings either. Did Mr. Gardner really intend to put him on the streets? Where am I supposed to go? It doesn't matter to me, so long as it's not here. Jeez. The boy grasped for something to say, but he knew there was nothing that would change Mr. Gardner's mind. He gathered himself up and silently made for the door. And Warren! Huh? Don't even think about trying to say goodbye to my daughter. I won't have you upsetting her. You've brought this on yourself. So his name was Warren. So Rosalind, close to Robin Hood, and she chose the name Robin, but also I guess she likes the story of Robin Hood. And he is Wren, which is close, or Warren, which was close to Wren. I wonder if J is actually, I don't know, for example, James, because that's very close. The boy felt a knot forming in his throat. Did he mean that he would never get to see her again? His eyes are welling up now. Maybe that was for the best. He wasn't rich, or strong, or good-looking. He used to think he was, at the very least, smart. But somehow, Rosalind always got the better of him, so that couldn't be true either. He had nothing left to offer her. She didn't need him. If anything, he must have been a terrible influence on her. After all, he was the one playing along with her schemes. Maybe in his absence, she would grow into a proper young lady. That's what was best for her. Tears were welling in his eyes and obscuring his vision. He nodded obediently and left before Mr. Gardner could see him cry. Damn, dude! What a memory. So he truly did love her, just as a 13-year-old boy, and he got cast out of the only place that he had shelter and food with nothing to his name, nothing but the clothes on his back. And somehow he has made it to adulthood as a detective, and he is now on this case. I wonder if he knew that this was her all along, and that's why he took this case, or if it was just a matter of happenstance. And on top of that, it's like, yeah, maybe he actually is very smart, very intelligent. It's just that Rosalind just got the better of him, because either she is even more intelligent, or like she is just better at lying. Lying is a skill. It doesn't necessarily make you smart to be able to lie, but to keep lies from being found, you do have to have some modicum of intelligence. But does it really matter when her father, who apparently is very incredibly wealthy and possibly powerful, just doesn't believe her to be a liar? He just believes any story she comes up with. So, obviously, Robin, being where she is now and doing what she's doing, she obviously did not like or resents her family to some degree, or she just gets a really big kick out of like thievery, gets a high, maybe just like gets a rush of emotions when she does bad stuff. So I don't know. And I really doubt a 13-year-old boy was a bad influence on her. It was all her idea. Yeah, maybe he went along with it, but I mean, he was a servant boy. What was he gonna do? Say no? But yeah, man, dude. And he was crying, even at 13 years old. I mean, that male bravado kicks in, and it's like, I don't want to see people. I don't want people seeing me crying. Call it toxic masculinity or whatever, but you know, that is definitely something that as a male I can relate to. Just, you know, you can't show your vulnerabilities, your weaknesses, because people will prey on that, especially as a man, because they're always trying to take you down. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Obviously, he still has feelings for her. because just a moment ago she said we've never not been friends, you know, and it's and Robin had even thought to herself, you know, she could see genuine like joy in him from hearing that. So now between the two of them, it is now another game of lies, another game of chase, and of like just another game of like what they just keep what they had been doing since they were kids. So this must be nostalgic for the both of them. And I guess they both feel that way because they were both like good night, and then, you know, stress the other person's like fake name. Okay, well, let's continue on, guys. In one of the Whirlwind's passenger cabins, Detective Wren woke from a restless dream. Oh, so it was his flashback, his dream. Ever since he was a child, this particular memory had always plagued him, and tonight was no different. What I wouldn't give to have a nice dream for once. As he lay there recounting the day's events, a surge of nervous energy gripped him. The torrent of emotions he'd been trying to keep in check since he saw her on the platform was threatening to boil over now that he was alone. Yeah, he's still madly in love with her. Man, dude, that's like deeply romantic, you know? Of course now would be the time she decided to come back into my life, using that silly nickname and everything. Wren wondered if she'd given her new friend his name too. I really am a fool. All those years apart, yet here we are playing the same game as always. He didn't have a choice. There was too much at stake. A chill ran down his back and, despite the pressure he was under, he felt himself grinning in the darkness. Sorry, Robin. I'll be the one winning this time. His thoughts were interrupted by a knock at the door. Wren sat up and checked the time on an old pocket watch on the bedside table. It was nearly 3 in the morning. For half a heartbeat as he made his way to the door, he hoped it was Robin knocking. If that happened, I don't know if I could keep myself from kissing her. Wren wondered if she would let him in. If she did, if she smiled at him with those eyes full of mischief and let him wrap his arms around her, he wasn't sure he could bear to leave her again. But that was just wishful thinking. He knew full well who was calling on him so late in the night. It's probably that that rich or whatever, the wealthy guy that was also in that party there. The door opened to a familiar face. Fletcher, that's his name. Dude, I forgot what his name was. At first I thought he might have just been like a side character and unimportant, but obviously with him showing up again now, he must be important. I wonder if we switch and make choices as Wren, just as we do with Robin. That would be an interesting play style? A play mechanic. That would be interesting. But then you can really kind of like play the cat and mouse game. Like you can really like, you know, make you could really make Robin be really bad at the game and really get Wren in on it, and vice versa. But I don't know, that would be kind of cool actually, now that I think about it. But then you could also do like a real cat and mouse where like that you have information that you shouldn't have, and they each kind of get one over on the other, and just like it's always like a close race, like Mario Kart. At least until somebody gets the blue shell, I don't know, the one that gets the one in the front when you're last. And just screw 'em. Fletcher. Detective? I think we need to have a conversation about our new friend, Miss Robin. Of course. Please come in. Let the game begin. Chapter 2. Looks like we do play as Wren. Nice. You know, I could stop here. You know, I think I will actually. I think I'm going to call it a day here at this point in the game. I think, I'm going to try to make a shorter format, make the videos a little more digestible. But, I'm really kind of getting into the story here. And it's just like there's this romance. I don't know if it's a one-sided romance or childhood infatuation that's going on, and yet something is going on with Robin and her family that she left. I wonder if Robin can and will use her known. She's got to know that Ren is into her, right? And she's got to be able to make use of that. But Ren knows that he is head over heels in love with her, and maybe he'll be smart enough to, you know, think his way through. Because, you know, I will I will say men have they have three heads that they think with, or three parts that they think with. They have the logical, they have the lustful, and then they have the heart. And so that's not really a head, but people think with their heart, people think with their brain, and men also have another thing that they think with. Now, with that said, I hope that you guys have enjoyed this video and this session. I hope that you will come back, and I'm assuming we're going to be playing as Ren and see how that goes. But that's going to be really cool if we get to do so. Anyways, guys, I hope to see you in the next one. And until then, bye.